Alrighty, welcome in NRL Picks and Preview, part of the Play-by-Play podcast on the Media Vintage Sports Network. We are off and rolling once again. NRL round 6 on the way. Jordan Hughes with you alongside.
It's me, King! Geordie, my man.
Straight off the tools, straight to the potty,
Straight off
dedication.
the tools. Here I am, dirty, and I'm back here ready to see you.
That's it, mate. We're ready to roll. Let's start. Round 5 was an interesting round. What was the moment of the week for you, my friend?
Well, there were 3 moments for me. Number 1, Jerome Hughes masterclass from Melbourne Storm.
Yep.
Absolutely phenomenal.
Yep.
Number 2, Latrell's moment that got them the dub against the Roosters.
He's back. Yep.
And number 3 is the Bulldogs tearing the Knights apart.
20-0.
Fill me in, man. What about you?
That was good. Well, mine is the Eels, mate. They're on the board. They're
Oh,
on the
the
board.
Eels. Overtime, drop goal, Lomax.
Picked it.
Oh, he killed it.
It was good.
I had everything riding on there. St. George.
So it's good to see the Parramatta do well. And who's down, my friend? Who's disappointing you?
Least impressive for me, I've got 3 here.
Okay.
With the Sharks. They were up by 4 points 3 minutes ago, and they went the whole field, the Raiders, and the Sharks
That was
bombed it.
What a try. That was
Great try.
Crazy.
Great try, awful defense. Number 2, the Titans lollipop. It says on my notes here.
Were you there live?
No,
Did you
not
go?
live.
Okay.
Not live. I was playing.
Yeah, right.
And then number 3, Penny Panthers.
Oh, boy.
What doing to the Cowboys?
4 in a row. That's mine as well.
4
They're
in a
down.
row.
Are the Panthers dead? Do we put the line through them?
No,
Not
we
yet?
cannot.
Okay.
So they're your down, Buzz, for the
Yeah,
week.
just Panthers, mate. They're just fucking falling apart. Good to see.
They were one of the most solid to bet on. $1.18 odds, terrible. It'd be good to jump on the other end of that.
Yeah, bloody oath. The Cowboys getting it done there. On the tipping front, you and I are both 5 from 8 last week. We couldn't be split. So I do still hold that 1 point lead overall. 26 from 40 for me and 25 from 40 for you, my friend.
That's very fair. I thought it'd be way worse. I was ready to hang it up, but
We're good 'cause-
5 from 8, lovely.
Yeah, because I picked the Raiders and the Eels. That was a difference. And you picked the Doggies. I did the Knights, which was dumb. And then there was another one you got me on. But yeah.
Lovely.
There we go. So let's see how we go this week. Round 6, ready to roll tonight. The Dolphins and the Panthers, $1.42. The Panthers still are the favourites, $2.90. The Dolphins are line 7.5.
Beauty. Was that the first win for the Dolphins last week against
Yeah.
Titans?
Yep.
It was. Well, congratulations.
Yep.
For the Penrith, big in is Dylan Edwards is back.
Yes, he is.
That is something that is very much needed from the Penrith Panthers. And let me give it to you. Panthers are only losing by 1 to 6. Not scoring in that last 5 minutes or something. So
Yep.
they're not out. They're
No.
not out. They're down, but not out.
Oh, there we go. Okay. So, yeah, exactly right. The Panthers lost their last 4 by 1 to 12 points. So, it's been very close. The underdogs have covered the last Dolphins 4 matches at Suncorp Stadium. And our man Fido has scored his last 3 against the Panthers.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Lovely, lovely odds, especially the way they're playing. They had a great game last week, and they're going to carry that back home tonight.
Okay.
But the Penrith, they've got Dylan Edwards back, and what I'm really excited for is Blaze Talangi linking up with Cleary. I thought he'd be there at the start of the year, but he's there now, so let's see what they can come up with.
Okay. Then who do we lean with? How do you see it playing out?
Look, I'm not a big fan of the Dolphins. I'm leaning with the Penrith. I think they're going to turn things with Edwards now in the lineup with his inclusion. Penrith 1 to 12 for me. If I'm looking for a try, it's either Tago or Alamotti. Tago's been doing it weekly if I clear his kicks.
There we go. Yeah, I'll join you. I keep backing the Panthers. I keep losing, but hopefully they can find something here. I do think the Dolphins will push them, so I'll take the Dolphins plus that 7.5. I like Fido for a try as well, but Panthers 1 to 12 for me.
Lovely. Fido got his first try last week, wasn't it?
Did he? Yeah, right. That's actually
Yeah,
worth
so
a
this
play.
is the first one,
try, bit
so
of cash there if you like that.
First one.
Let's go now to Wollongong. The Dragons, $1.60. The Titans, $2.35. The Lions, 4.5. The Dragons have lost their last 4 as a favourite, and they failed to cover the last 6 of 7. Can they go
Well,
bounce back here?
the first thing that hits me is a lot of points.
Yep.
St. George and Titans, they can both score points.
Facts.
Titans don't do too well against Dragons down there. If you're looking at the Dragons, I'm looking at that left edge. Gutho, Valentine Holmes, and it's always looking at Tuolapu to score out there.
There we go. So 5 or 6 Dragons games have been decided by 6 or less. Been very tight this season. Jaden Campbell scored in his last 2 versus the Dragons. Both sides coming off losses here, my friend. Who wins it?
Look, I do you know what? I backed Titans last week, probably the first time, and that's what they come up with.
Yep.
I'm jumping ship.
Okay.
Back on the Dragons. Here we go.
Here we go. All right. So for me, generally the Titans, they go, they lose, they win, they lose, they win. That's what they do. Yeah. So I'm going to back them to win this week. I'll take them plus that 4.5, get them to win. I'll go Jaden Campbell to score as well.
Beauty. I like that. I've got Tuolapu to score.
He's your guy. Alrighty, let's go now to Suncorp Stadium once again. The Broncos $1.18, the Roosters $5, the Lions 15.5. The Roosters have lost their last 11 versus teams in the top 4, but the Broncos have failed to cover the last 12 or 13 at Suncorp Stadium. Who
Well, Broncos back at home. Their left edge is the go-to with Ben Hunt. He's always there. I'm not too sure about Reynolds. He went off with a hammy, but he's back in. But I'm looking at that left edge. They're striking down there, and it's always Jesse Arthur's looking good.
He's playing bloody unreal, Jesse Arthurs.
Yeah, I really like that.
So on the try scoring front for you, Cobbo has scored his last 7 of 8 versus teams in the bottom 4, and Dom Young has scored his last 3 versus the Broncos.
And Dom Young is a weapon. He's been scoring weekly.
Absolutely.
I want to see a better game from Roosters.
Yeah.
Oh, no, Chad Townsend.
Dropped.
So we've got a new
Thoughts?
half. Well,
Warranted.
the two halves aren't really creating, Sandon Smith and Townsend.
Mm.
Townsend never creates anyway. So without Sam Walker, they can't isolate. They got
lost.
good forwards, decent backs, but they just don't have halves that can create. If Sam Walker's there, they're winning so many more games. So we do need a new half. So here we go.
Okay. What's your picks?
Broncos minus 7.5.
Alternate.
and
Okay.
Arthur's try scorer.
Yeah, I do like that. So saying that if we stuck to the 15.5 line, you'd go Roosters to get within that?
Ooh, tough titties. You tell me.
I'd go yes. I think they stay within the number.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, yes, for sure. I'll
Okay.
go that.
Yeah, so I reckon Roosters cover, but Broncos win for me. I do think it's 1-12 for the Bronx, and I'll go Cobbo and Dom Young to score for me. Yeah,
Lovely. We're looking good.
the Bronx are finding some form. Let's go now to the Cronulla Sharks and the Manly Seagulls. The Sharkies at $1.48. Manly 265. The Lions 5.5. Manly off that dreadful defeat last week against the Storm, but they have won the last 8 following a loss, and they've covered the last 4 between these two sides in this contest. So can they bounce back, my friend?
Lovely. Well, Sharks back on home soil. Technically, Sharks shouldn't have lost last week. They lost in the last 3 minutes. Full fielder. Britton Nikora had a monstrous game out there, scoring 2 tries. You look on the other end, Manly Cooler. He absolutely tore it up last week with 2 tries for Manly. He's their threat weapon.
Yep.
Still no Turbo for a couple of weeks.
And yeah, we know without Turbo they do struggle. What do you reckon though?
Well, look, I think they have a similar style of footy, but I'm going to be going with Sharks 1-12 here.
Yeah, I do think it's a real close encounter. I reckon it's almost one try in it either way. I reckon I'm going to go Manly to win. Bounce back. Bit risky, I know. It's probably dangerous at home. But I'll go Manly at least plus at 5.5. And I'll go, just against you, I'll go the money line to win 1-12.
Beauty.
Ola Kawatu has scored his last 2 versus Sharkies and is an absolute weapon. So I'll back him for a try as well.
Yeah, but look, I'm not upset about that. I think this is going to go wire to wire here.
Yep, very close encounter. Let's go now in Sydney. The Rabbitohs $2.10. The Cowboys $1.75. The Lions just 1.5. The South Sydney Rabbitohs won their last 9 interstate day matches. They've covered their last 6, but the last 4 have been won by 1-12 points. So it's been close.
Yeah, and here we go with the Rabbits. There's no Cody Walker and no Humphreys. Too much. I was catching up on the gym side.
The pipes are too big.
That's it. He's gone to train his pipes again. No
Okay.
more footy. Give the pipes a pump. So Latrell's in the halves there, and Johnson's back. So I'm looking at that left edge being dangerous with their ball playing side. So look out for Johnson out that left edge to score a try, or even Jai Gray off Latrell.
Very interesting. Interesting note here, the Rabbitohs are the underdogs and they're at home as well. So I like the South Sydney Rabbitohs to win this one. I reckon it's 1-12. And Dry Gray has scored his last 3 or 4. So I like the young fella to get a try as well.
Beauty. I like that. Look, this is a game for Drinkwater to carve up for me against some lazy defense. I'm actually leaning with the Cowboys here.
Okay, there we go. The Cowboys get it done in Sydney against the Bunny. That should be an absolute cracker as well. We are absolutely flying through round 6. We are cooking. The Eels, $2.80. The Raiders, $1.44. The Lions, 6.5. Both sides had wins in round 5. Can they go back to back?
Yeah, look, for me, Raiders across the park are very solid across the park. I like their forwards. I like their backs. On the other side with the Eels, there's not much doing for me with the Eels. No Lomax, maybe. I do like Josh Adokar's energy, and their ball shape does come off Iongi, the fullback. But still, they're just lacking shape, lacking anything for me, really. So I'm looking at the Raiders here.
You think they'll be somewhat fired up after the big win last week, but the Raiders have won the last 8 versus teams that are coming last. The favourite is covered in the last 4 between these two sides. Adokar has scored his last 5 of 6, and Will Penasini has scored his last 3 or 4 interstate games.
Beauty. And just on Penasini, look for him out that left edge because he's up against Tomoko.
Yep.
Tomoko has had a shocker the last 2 weeks on the defensive side. So those centres on him are scoring. So look out for Penasini. He's actually an option that I do have on my notes.
Okay, and then where do you lean, my friend?
Me, I'm with the Raiders here. I think just the Raiders can score more points and they can win.
Yep, there we go. The stats are all telling me take the Raiders, and that is what I'll do. The Raiders to win here. Raiders 1-12. I think the Eels show a little bit early on. And I like Penasini for a try as well. And also
dude.
Savage for the Raiders. to score a
Savage,
try.
yeah. You can always rely on that guy. That guy scores tries out of nowhere.
He is an absolute savage. All right, let's go now. The Melbourne Storm against the Warriors in Melbourne. This one, $1.15 the Storm, $5.60 the Waz, 16.5 is your number.
Yeah, absolute lethal here. I'm looking at the Storm. That right edge is so lethal. Hughes to Katoa, and then out the back you've got Pappenhausen, Anderson, and a big shout out to young Leo out there. Play with his brother Troy.
Former New Zealand Sevens.
New Zealand Sevens. Yeah, you would have seen him too.
He's a talented prospect.
Absolute gun. So he's playing in the centres. He had a pretty good game last week.
Yep.
So congrats to him, and we're going again.
Here we go. So the Storm have a great record against New Zealand. They've won the last 16 in a row. Melbourne's last 6 daytime matches have gone over the total points. Dry track in Melbourne. The number is 51.5. I'll take the over. I reckon a lot of tries in this one. Xavier Coates has scored his last 5 of 6 versus New Zealand. And here's one for you. Ryan Pappenhausen scored 2 tries in his last 3 versus New Zealand.
Oh, I love that. That's
Yeah.
beauty. They line up with my stats here. I've got Storm are elite, 13 plus with a dub. Grant Anderson and Pappenhausen to score for the Storm.
Yeah, there we go. Can't go past the Storm here. I reckon they do a job. I reckon Coates will score, and that's a bit of value there. If you take Ryan Papp to score 2 or more tries, there's always a market for that floating around. Bit of value, I'm sure. So I might put something on that. Also, you know Xavier Coates is only 24 years old. Do you know how young he is? I thought he's been around my whole fucking life.
Feels like it, eh?
Yeah,
he kicked Corey Oates out years ago.
Yeah, well, he's a weapon. So, yeah, I like Coates for a try as well. There we go. The Storm too good in that one. Let's go now. The final match of round 6. The Newcastle Knights, $1.65. The Tigers, $2.25. The Lions, 3.5. The Knights didn't score a point last week.
Yeah, and look, it didn't score a point. That's shocking, especially with Ponga out there. The reason why that's happening is because they're not winning that forward battle to allow those fast guys to play shape. Fletcher Sharp using Ponga. You've got Gagai, Best. You have an outstanding back line, but they're just not winning those forward battles to get on top. So for me, that's why they're not scoring any points. And they're going up against the Tigers, which they just beat them in round 1, I think it was, 10-8.
It was an absolute nail biter. That's right. The Knights came from behind in that one. The Knights have won their last 7 versus the Tigers. The Tigers have failed to cover 7 from 8 as an away underdog. The Knights have won their last 3 home games versus the Tigers by 13 plus. And Ponga has scored 4 or 5 home games versus the Tigers. He'll probably be eager for a big one, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'll be waiting each week for Ponga to have a big one. And they are playing at home, so they're going to be tough to beat at home, especially because they do have that record over the Tigers. But what I do like is Tigers' momentum each week. They're getting better and better. I like their strong forwards. I think their forwards are stronger than the Knights' forwards, and Luai is back to run amok with Coruscant. So for me, I'm looking at the Tigers. I think the Tigers are going to get the win here, and I'm looking at Turunuva out that right side.
I like it. I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to go the Knights to win here, bounce back after a terrible result that we had a tough week at training, I'm sure. So I'll back them at home to get it done. Knights to win, Knights minus the 3.5, Ponga to score, and I'll take the over total points as well.
Oh, beauty. I was leaning on the unders for this one.
There we
I
go.
think it'll be low scoring, 1-12 Tigers.
True, actually, that what happened last time. Let's see.
Yeah, and Knights didn't even score last week.
True.
Well, and they've probably scored 6 the week before, 14 the week before that. So
You make a good point there.
here we go.
All right, rock and roll. So there we go, NRL round 6. And now this is what you've came to see. The Kings' best bets of round 6. Talk me through
Yes, so here we go. I've got a 5-leg multi paying $5.27.
it. Okay.
So the first one is Knights versus Tigers. Either team to win, 1-12. Storm over the Waz and Grant Anderson to score a try. The Raiders to beat the Eels. And the last one, Broncos over the Roosters. That seems fairly safe to me. $5.27. Those are good odds.
That is a good... I reckon that'll be your best one I've heard. That's a good one.
It's pretty clean.
I like it. Okay.
Pretty nice.
There we go. There we go. So there's something worth a sprinkle on there if you want a multi for the weekend. As we go around the grounds, mate. Last week you played a bit of rugby union on the weekend. How'd we go?
Yeah, good little trot out there. Very hot middle of the day, 12 o'clock.
Kickoff. Tough. Haven't done it in a
One
while.
thing, I've still got it. I've got it. It
there we
doesn't
go.
matter how
Yep.
long we're out. We got it.
Yep.
We did lose.
Yeah.
Riddle me this. We scored 3 tries. They scored 2. They beat us on conversions.
Goal kicking, mate. Rugby
Don't know
union.
who was kicking, but next time I'll be taking
You should
those.
do that as well.
Max Dempsey, this is a shout out to you, man. Learn to kick.
I love
I'm
Max.
kicking him.
He's a good guy.
He's a good guy, isn't he?
There we
good
go.
footy player.
Anything else going on in your world?
Work,
This
work,
weekend?
work, twerk.
Yeah, your favourite.
And you, how's it going on your end?
Just plenty of footy, mate. Plenty
What
of code.
about the Queensland women grand final? Is it semi-final? Final?
What?
Didn't you have a couple of
Oh, that was
girls
a few
on
weeks
the
ago,
potty?
yeah. The Super Rugby Women's Grand
Yeah,
Final.
here we
yes,
go.
Yeah,
Now
rugby
we're gone.
union.
Now we're
Yeah,
talking.
there we go. A bit of rugby this weekend, bit of league. It's all happening
Is that a final?
this weekend.
Let's go.
Cooking.
Love
All right, there we go. NRL picks and preview in the books. Let's have a great week and let's win some cash and let's make some
I'm
money.
closing us out. Here we are. That's Jordan Hughes. I'm the king. We out.
Have a good weekend.